everyone, welcome back to another Connecting in Creativity. I'm Alex, and today we'll be doing a tutorial for watercolor flowers. All right, let's get started.
Okay, so to start, we're going to go with watercolor lavender. So we're going to take our mixing tray and add a little bit of water. And then you're going to go into your paint and pick up some paint to mix together. Now I'm taking a little bit of purple, some blue, and a little bit of yellow to kind of tone down the color. And then we're going to go in with our brush. And we're going to start big at the base. So bigger at the base. And then it's going to slowly fade into a smaller bud. And at the tops, I like to use a little bit less water as it's like kind of fading away. Just like that. And we're going to remember to always rinse out our brushes and pat them off after every different color. Now, this still needs stems. However, we're going to go straight into violets because doing stems now would make the colors bleed. So we'll go ahead and do the stems right after. So we're going to take our same mixture, except we're going to add a little bit more blue this time. That seems like a good color to me. So we're going to go in a little bit more blue. And violets, they're really cool. So they are darker in some places and then get a little bit lighter on others, which I like. Okay, so we got our violets down. And again, we're gonna go in with details as soon as we're finished with the actual flowers to give it time to dry. Otherwise, the colors bleed into each other too easily. So again, I took a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple, actually a lot of blue, a little bit of purple, and a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the lemon yellow. So we're going to go in with our purple again on a separate tray. More purple. And a little bit of our blue. And again, a tiny, tiny bit of our yellow. A little bit more purple. And remember to clean off your brush after every time you pick up color to not mix your pans. Perfect. Now take a little bit of water and mix your solution, your color. And this time we're going to go with lilacs. I like lilacs a lot. Now lilacs are very similar to violets and to lavender, where we're going to take some of this color that we mixed, and this time we're going to do a nice in-between. So it's similar to lavender where it starts big at the bottom and it's very bushy. And we're going to take a little bit of our blue that we used for violets. Always save your color mixtures because you never know when you're going to need them again. Perfect. And I know right now it kind of looks like a blob, but I swear it'll all come together in the end. Now for our hydrangeas, we're going to do the same purple, except this time we're going to add a little bit of pink, a little bit of red to kind of pinken that up, and a little bit of yellow to mute the color. A little more purple. Blend it all in. And take a little bit of the red and add it in until we have this nice reddish, pinkish, purple color. And again, hydrangeas are very similar to lilac. So we're gonna take, except they fall down. They fall a little downward. And again, we're just tapping our color into the paper. And it's very loose. Just like that. And our colors aren't dry just yet. As you can see, they're a little bit still wet, and that's okay because we're going to go straight into the next column. And here we're going to start doing peonies, roses, a little bit of hibiscus, and a snapdragon. So for these colors, for the peony, I'm going to take my red again, take some red, and so on your color wheel, if you ever want to mute a color down, like I said, you don't want to take a color straight from the pan because it starts looking a little bit too unnatural. And on your color wheel, why we added yellow to these purple ones is because yellow is the opposite of purple, and for red, green is its opposite. So we're going to add a touch of green. a little bit of darker red, a touch more green, and I like this color. And everything is very loose, which is nice. It makes it a little bit easier. There's a lot less mistakes. And then we're just going to make a little center here, and it doesn't have to be perfect, again. And we're gonna drag, which is our technique that we learned last week. We're gonna drag some petals down. Just like that. And I like them to be a little bit more saturated at the top. And then we're just going to take this petal here and here, kind of bring it all together. You can add a few more, and it's good if they don't touch each other. These petals on the outside, they don't touch the rest of the flower. They're just kind of in the air. Just like that. Perfectly good peony. And then we're going to go on to rose. So we're going to take the same color that we had, so a little bit of red, except this time I'm going to add a little bit of orange, a little bit of orange. I like a good orangey rose. And we're going to take our same green to kind of cool that color down a little bit. Now I cooled it down a little bit too much, and that's okay. You just take more of your red and bring that back up to a vibrant color. Now for roses, it's very similar to the peonies. So we're going to have our nice little middle. Except this time we're going to go in a circle, where these little half moon like petals all the way around. And there you have it, a nice rose. Now we're going to move on to hibiscus, and it's a little bit more of a pinker color, I would say. So we're going to take our red, and instead of mixing any color into it, because it is so vibrant, and I said not to just go straight from the pan, but we are going to this time, and I'm going to teach you how to do that successively. So we're just going to take a little bit of water, and we're going to use the water to lighten the color. So now it's nice and light, and we're going to make these like little leaf shapes. Like so. It's a nice little hibiscus. And we're going to take our darker color and tap the middle with it and then let it expand. Maybe do a little mini one up here. And once you get good at these are very quick little flowers. And we're rinsing off our brushes. And now we're going to go straight into Snapdragons. So we're going to take the color that we did for the Peony, add a little bit more red, add a tad of green, and I'm going to add a little bit of blue. Give us a nice deep color. And now these Snapdragons are usually on a vine, which we will do a little bit later. So we're going to go in with little strokes. And they kind of have a nice bulbous base like this, and like two little bunny ears on top. Maybe you only do one bunny ear, as if it's looking more towards you. And sometimes you want to just do the bunny ears, or like the little base top, because those are like little buds. They haven't exactly come in yet, but it's good to keep them. Perfect. All right, let's move down. I'm going to stop for a minute and show you guys what our progress is so far. So we have our lavender here, our violets, our lilac, our hydrangeas. This is our peony, our rose, our hibiscus, and our snapdragons. And they're looking pretty good. They're drying a little bit. All right, so now we're gonna go into daisies. Now for this color palette, I'm going to go ahead and use a different mixing tray. And the reason I'm doing that is because these are all yellow or white flowers. So we're going to take our lemon yellow and like a mustardy yellow, and you can make a mustard yellow by adding a bit of orange. So a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow. This is a nice marigold color. We're going to yellow it up a little bit more. Just a little bit brighter. Perfect. And now daisies are very simple, so just like that. We're going to use a dragging technique again. And we're just going to go in a circle with our petals. So this one is going to be sideways. Then this one can be facing forward. And then we're going to take a lot of water on this one to create the back of that one. And if you mess up with watercolor, the super cool thing is, as we learned last week, is you can pick up with a wet paper towel you can pick up colors. You can dab it. Like so. And it won't get it perfect, but it'll pick up most of the color. Alright, so next we have some baby's breath. Now, it is white, so we're going to take the littlest bit of yellow and the littlest bit of red, just to give it some color. And we are going to lightly, with a lot of water, add in our baby's breath. And these are just little bud shapes. You really can't go wrong making like little heart shapes, kind of like the bunny ears that we did for the Snapdragons. And then just like how we cleaned up our mess on the last one, we're gonna dab it quickly to pick up most of that color so that we're left with just a hint of color since it's white. Perfect. And now we're gonna go into our sunflower. So quite a bit of orange, quite a bit of yellow. And then we're going to do the same technique as we did with the daisies. And then I'm going to take a darker orange. I'm going to do some of these back petals, because they have a lot of petals in sunflowers. Perfect. And then we are going to take a brown, like the burnt umber, and a lot of water, and we're going to dab the middle. And we'll come back to darken this up a little bit when we add in the branches for the other ones. Next we have our marigold. So, a little bit more red. And this time, kind of like a carnation, we're going to have a middle, an outer of a lighter color, and then we're going to have the most outer color be an even lighter color, a light yellow. You know how to just drag that color in. And we have a good marigold coming in. So we're going to do that again. With a mini one over here, we're going to take our darkest color, add a little bit of our lighter color, and take our lightest color. Excellent. And now our last ones are going to focus on the different types of leaves that we can do. So we're going to start with a fern. And again, I'm going to use the different watercolor palette, mixing palette. And I'm going to grab a light green. And then I'm going to grab a darker green. A little bit of like a, you can add a little bit of blue too. Perfect. And you want to take your thinnest brush and you're going to want to make a line. And then you can make a few little branches off the line and then do little taps to create the fern. Nice little taps. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no right order. You're going to add as many or as little branches as you want. And then the top is kind of like a Christmas tree top, where it's its own branch. It's full at the top. And some of the branches can even overlap each other and go behind each other or in front. Then you have like a little fern here. And what I like to do is I like to take a little bit of the burnt umber, the brown, and add this along one side of the branch. And it kind of just gives it more depth. You can even add a little bit of brown to the leaves on some of these to make it look a little bit more real. That's okay. And next we have some wild grass. So we'll do, again, another very thin. Okay, so my camera ran out of storage. I had to change it. I'm not sure where we left off, but we're just gonna keep on going. So here's some wild grass. And you basically only wanna draw the middle of the line and then these nice seaweed leaf shapes. And then we're going to add a little bit of grass to the background. Like so. And it can be very light by adding a little bit of water, patting it off, and having some light grass. Like that. And if you want, you can even add a little bit of yellow like we did here. We did a little bit of brown. Not sure if you guys caught that or not. So you can add a little bit of yellow, add a little bit of water, kind of mix those together. Perfect. So now we're going to go on to this palmy type of color. And we're just going to do thin branches. And you want them to kind of look like they're in the breeze. So nice, thin branches. And here's our line. Perfect. And they can overlap each other like that. That's okay. So here we have a nice palmy looking branch. And last, we're going to do this roundish ivy color by adding a lot of blue to the previous color of green and yellow. So we're going to add a bit of blue, and now we're going to just do nice circles, actually more like ovals, like that. Nice little ovals. And they don't have to be a perfect oval because some of them can be upside down. Some of them might be behind. And then you're going to take your branch and add them onto each leaf. Perfect. So now our paint at the top is dry. So we're going to take our green, brown, yellow mixture for up here for our lavender. And we're going to add little stems. So I'm going to add a little bit more brown to my mixture because I saw it was like just a tad bit too light. All right, and go back. And you can add little bases of green to our lavender, like so. And we're going to do the same for our violets. Just add a few branches, and our lilac. So we'll add lots of leaves on this one. They have a lot of leaves. And then we're going to add a lot to the top of the hydrangeas here. And some of them might fall over. That's cool. I like that. And we're going to mix some more paint. Add a little bit of brown. We're gonna add our greens until you get a color that you like. We're gonna do the same for this one. And it's very loose. Watercolor is super loose, and I like that. It isn't perfect. Yeah. Maybe it's like darker up here. So we got our hydrangeas. And our peonies, they're gonna have a nice little bit. And a very simple stem. Our rose, we'll just add a few little leaves here. Maybe it comes out of 2. This one is just a 1. Maybe a baby leaf here. Perfect. And our hibiscus, that one doesn't have very many. That's okay. Our baby hibiscus behind it. And our snapdragons have a lot. They're gonna have green buds going up, like so. And they're gonna have some buds below and a nice branch. Our daisies, they might have a few that overlap and go straight down. And our baby's breath is going to have very light stems. And they're all going to come out of different directions and have a main source. So you want the main source to be in the middle of the flower. Because that's where the stem is. Just like that, very simple. And our sunflower is going to have a big old stem. And our marigolds, they might have a few leaves here and there. And a nice stem. A leaf here. A leaf here. And a nice stem. And now we can go in and add a little bit more detail to some of these. And if you notice that some of your branches are a little bit too light, that's cool. You can just go in with another layer. It's a nice thing with watercolor. You want to work in layers. So it always dries lighter than you think it's going to dry. But you just add another layer and we're good to go. Excellent. So now we're going to take our brown for the sunflower. And we're really going to add a little bit of detail on this one. Just like that. And add a few little dots around it. Ooh. And I transferred a little bit here, and that's okay. We're going to do the same for our marigolds. We're going to do the same brown, kind of do some dots. You may even want to take a little bit of brown and add that to some of the branches. That's okay. I added a little bit too much, but we all know the lesson here. You just dab. Perfect. And now we're going to take a little bit of our orange, perhaps a little bit of brown, add that to the center of our daisy. Like so. And we're going to take a little bit of our red, and we're going to make a few anthers in our hibiscus. A little bit of orange, and do some little dots. We'll do the same on this one. A little bit of orange, some dots for some pollen. And we'll take a little bit of red. We're going to add them to the bulbs of our snapdragons. Just to give it some diversity. And we're going to take our yellow. We're going to add that to the center of our violets. Like so. Going to take a little bit of our green. Add some stems in our hydrangeas. And we're looking pretty good. I'm happy with the outcome, except for this one. I kind of messed that one up, but it's okay. Here are our finished watercolors. These are our lavenders, our violets, our lilac, and our hydrangeas. There are our snapdragons, our hibiscus, our rose, and our peonies. Some daisies, some baby's breath, a sunflower, some marigolds. Here is our rounded ivy, palm, wild grass, and a little bit of fern.
Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial for watercolor flowers, and I will see you next week for watercolor greeting cards. Bye!